Well, it's a standard gents racer, a 12 speed. It's a French MBK sort of chrome alloy frame, and I ride it because my last bike was nicked, and it was a good price in the shop. If you ride a bike, you can sort of get exercise as well as get somewhere, and quite often it's almost as quick to cycle the bike. You can avoid one-way systems and that sort of thing. It's mostly alloy components, so it's quite light, doesn't have steel wheels or anything. It's only 12 speed. In Shimano, no, Sun Tour, but they're index gears, so they click straight in. Has high pressure tyres, 100 psi. Kevlar belted to stop punctures. Well, it's the high side of the low end bikes, if you know what I mean. It's just beginning to be a reasonable road bike. It's not expensive compared with a motor car or compared with even a motorbike. A bike starts at about 300 quid, I think. Although this one was a lot less than that because it was last year's. And tyres would be about 7 or 8 quid. Inner tubes would be about 3 or 4 quid. But you don't get through too many of those. So really, once it's going, it's quite cheap. Most drivers underestimate how quickly a cyclist, adult cyclist can cycle, which is a bit irritating. I quite like cycling in traffic as long as, it's not on the pavement and things. And I don't think cycleways are too hot either, but that's another. Because they tend to make you drop speed and then to come off of traffic and then to rejoin traffic. And I think that's where most cycling accidents happen. As a cyclist comes off of somewhere quite safe, or they think somewhere's safe, and then they hit traffic again, they have to change their awareness of the different dangers. It's much better, I think, to be with traffic, to be aware of it, and for traffic to get used to the cyclist. An awful lot of drivers have never been on two wheels, apart from when they were small children, so they don't understand that a bike needs wide room to go round a corner, it brakes slower, and the speed thing, when I'm sort of batting around, I probably do an average of about 15 to 20 miles an hour and a peak of about 30 or 35. Dogs. But, so most motorists aren't expecting a cyclist to be doing that sort of speed, The trouble is, I think, different types of transport are suitable for different things. And bikes are good when you can either do short trips or you can get onto public transport with them. They're not so good if you've got a longish way to go and it's cold and horrible. But it's quite nice to exert yourself, I think you get the adrenaline rush when you're batting along. It's quite nice to know that as you're going along, you're not sort of burning fossil fuels. What else is there? No, it's just generally quite a nice feeling. And it's, if going fast down a hill on a push bike, there's nothing quite like it, really.
These are golf buggies, and we have them from a company not far in Nottingham, and Modern Cross. The one we're driving at the moment is a Yamaha. It's a single cylinder, petrol. Uses about half a gallon a day, driving around a golf course, doing approximately 10 miles, 15 miles a day, I would think. This particular Yamaha are a little bit noisy. We've got some Easy Goes that are two-cylinder. This is a single cylinder. The Easy Goes are two-cylinder, they're much quieter, and we prefer to drive them, but this is the official course Ranger's buggy. It's my job on the as a ranger to visit people on the course, talk to them, make them feel welcome, speed play up if it's a little slow, and generally accommodate them. There could be a battery broken down on one of the electric buggies, and we'll go out and help them. Occasionally called on for a rolling on play, and generally to make people feel at home. I visit most tees, ask the golfers if they're enjoying themselves. Make them feel welcome. All right. It's a very, very simple means of variable speed pulley that gives you the drive. It is obviously just the one speed or the one gear ratio, and the more you accelerate, the more the V belt the belt goes up the V. Ron. All right. Very often get the fact that you've got perhaps youngsters driving them, and the most common one is where the front buggy will stop and the second buggy mistime the braking and straight into the back of the one in front. Fortunately, maximum speed is about 15 miles an hour, and we hope that they have brakes a little, so the collision speed is very small. And the other one, of course, is if you're in the trees and you're looking for your golf ball and you actually hit a tree. And that's happened. They're nice to drive. They're very turn on a sixpence. They're very manoeuvrable. Go up and down anywhere. So they're nice to drive as part of the job.
I am driving a Fiesta 1.1 some sort of other. I've been driving it since Christmas, and I just basically drive it to get me to work and to my friends' houses. Just wanted something that was reliable, that would get me to work and back and not break down in the winter. It's a pisser in the mornings, bounces. If I remember it's a manual choke, it's alright. If I don't, stuff. It's a nice car to drive actually. Compared to my parents' car, which is the Fiesta as well, it's really nice. Theirs is really stuffy. I like the fact it's mine and I don't have to ask if I want to go out. Not, can I borrow the car, Dad? I just get in it and it's mine and I can go where I want to go. I suppose it means I'm getting somewhere. I screwed school up, and although I've got a job, it's fairly dead end at the moment, and I suppose it's one of the positive points of where I'm going and what I'm doing. The fact that I've got a car and I can do more or less what I want to do. I would like to think that I'm not a typical woman driver, but I probably am. I don't like sort of people up my boot and going really slowly in front of me, and I'll swear at them and peak my horn and flash my lights at them, but I'm probably just as bad. When there's people behind me and they want to overtake and I don't want them to, I'll go in the middle of the road. I don't really do any really demanding driving. I haven't driven on the motorway yet, which is pretty pathetic considering, but I mean, what's Telford away from me? About 15 miles. It took me a year to pluck up the courage to drive to Telford because I didn't know the road and there were loads of islands and it was really scary. I don't see my car as an extension of me, no. At the end of the day, it's an affordable, reliable mode of transport to get me to work and back. And I like it because it's my car and I'm paying for it and it's mine. Just turn the radio on, light a cigarette and drive, really.
we're driving a John Deere 1630 3-cylinder. It's a relatively small tractor. We've had it for 15 years, I think, when we had it from new. It'll do about, let's have a look, 20 miles an hour. When it's flat out, you're normally working about 6 or 7 miles an hour. Well, we use tractors all the time, almost every day, for scraping out the cow yards, delivering feed, getting around the farm. That's about it, really. Well, most of the machines that we drive, if you're not on the road, then most of the machines we use, or machines we pull behind the tractor, have got to be, you can't go very fast on them anyway, because most of them are fairly precision machines, drills and that sort of thing, fertilising, and if you go too fast you can't you can't keep an eye on what the machine's doing behind you. I suppose this one will pull just about full a 10-ton trailer on a 10-ton trailer full of stuff. So you're actually pulling about 12 ton on a hard surface. Obviously, once you get into the field, it's a lot harder, because it depends on what the ground situation's like, whether you get wheel slip, how wet it is, or how dry, whether it's too dry, and you actually can't grip. It's very noisy at times if you're on it from. We don't do that many cultivations, but sometimes we're on it for anything from 12, 20 hours a day, and it gets a bit monotonous then, and very noisy. And your backside gets sore. I've been stuck behind lots of farmers in tractors, and I just feel like any other motorist. I feel really cheesed off and say, well, they shouldn't be here anyway, and why don't they get out of the way? By law, if you have a queue of over 13 cars, you can be prosecuted. You should, by law, pull in to let the cars by. A lot of people don't bother. I mean, all the kids that come up here, the one thing they want to do is to have a look at a tractor or have a ride behind the tractor. That's what they think most of the time. I imagine they just think, well, marvellous, it's a tractor. A farmer's got a tractor, and if he hasn't got a tractor, he isn't a farmer. There's a new tractor, and I think it's a Fiat that's come out, and you can actually choose whether you have a red one or a green one or a blue one or a white one, I think it is. But now John Deere all green, International all red, Ford are all blue. Fiat used to be all yellow, I think, yellow or green. And they've got their own tractor colours, and that's it. I can care less what colour I drive, really.
This is a DAF 95. I've only been driving this one just over a week, but I've been driving for 24 years now. Started driving by driving a transit van. I drove a transit van for a year, and then where I started driving, they trained me for heavy goods, and I've been on Arctics ever since. I wouldn't do anything else. This is only my third job. 20 years in my first job, then I did 4 years self-employed, and I've just been on here 5-6 weeks now. The old CB's comfort as well, you've got that to listen to as you're going along. It helps out with any problems on the roads. Your first priority is what the road ahead's like. You just ask what the road's like ahead, and then you tell the other one on the other side what it's like behind you, so that he's got a clear road. And if there's any problems, then you can divert off in plenty of time. I'm only carrying scaffolding planks at the moment for the building industry, and I've got a little tiny bit of weed killer on the front for garden lawns. I'm carrying about 19 tonne. We're only running on 4 axles today. We can run at 38 tonne when we've got 5 axles. I mean, all the years I've been driving, I've never driven a DAF before, and I've never driven a Scania. Well, I've got a Scania, the one that I've been driving for the last few weeks, and then they give me this one to go down to London with. But I'm quite impressed with it. It's quiet and comfortable. It's quite powerful for the size of it. It's like I've been on Mercedes nearly all my life. I've driven Mercedes. I find this is very quiet against the Mercedes. Well, you're a lot higher up, you can see more that's going on with a lorry. You tend to be a bit wary of what the cars are going to do. The trouble is the cars don't give you any room for manoeuvres. If the car can just stop so easy, you just can't stop one of these when you're running at 38 ton. They just don't stop as quick as that. A chap in London indicating right yesterday the centre of London and then turns left right in front of me. I mean, it's not the best of things when you've got a full load behind you. You've got to try and stop one of these things. You feel the power underneath you, like, you know, even when you're loaded, you feel that you've got something under there, you know. Even when you've got a smaller one, you know, you can hear it working away. I suppose it's the sound that gets to you, you know, with the driving.
Design. They were called Austerities because they were built in great numbers. How many was built, Steve?
484.
484 built during the war for wartime service.
Built after the war.
But this one was built after the war. This was built in 1950. But the design stems from the war. And they were quite a good, strong, rugged engine, so the design perpetuated after the war, and I think the last one was built in the early 60s. Oh no, I think the feeling, you'll see a bit farther along the line when we go up the hill, you'll hear the engine working hard and the noise that it makes, and I think it's the thrill of being in charge of so much power, and the power is visible, you can see it. So basically just make it go, he puts it in reverse as we're going backwards and opens the regulator. The moment he opens it gives you the required speed, and really that's all there is to it. You've got to make the coal and water do something for you. With a petrol engine it either goes or it doesn't.
Yeah.
A steam engine never lets you down. You can always limp about with it one way or the other. Grossly over-designed. I think if they built them now, they'd be a lot different than what they were when they were built. Everything's bigger by about a factor of 10 than what you actually need. 40 to 45 miles an hour, depending on what you're pulling, obviously.
Right. It's a shunter.
It's a shunter.
Heavy shunter.
Yeah.
Right. So the ideal speed's about 15, 20 miles an hour.
With a steam engine, it's not what you can pull, it's whether you can stop it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, a steam engine is an external combustion engine where you can see everything happening. Yeah. With a car or an aeroplane or anything, it just does it, doesn't it? There's a challenge to the crew to get a steam engine running. It'll only perform if you treat it rightly. That's why most steam engines are referred to as she's. Right. Because like women, temperamental.